Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently
Row,
down the
row,
stream.
row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the
Row your
stream.
boat
Merrily,
gently down the
merrily, merrily,
stream.
merrily, life
Merrily,
is but
merrily,
a
merrily,
dream.
merrily, life is but a
Row your
dream.
boat
Row,
gently down the
row your
stream.
boat.
Pod's done.
Hey there guys, welcome back for Bleach Chapter 667, Bigger, Louder, Stronger. So weird. Also, did you like that skit thing at the beginning? Yeah, that's all I could think while reading like this beginning part. And it's now like I have like 100% more Dragon Ball Z Abridged references in my Bleach episode reviews than in my Dragon Ball Super reviews. Seems like it should be like the other way around, but whatever. So we start off with Kenpachi. It's like a flashback start from like the last time. Like it's just a flashback of Kenpachi being in the healing pod, you know, the thing that we already put him in. And he's just kind of like, where am I? He has no idea where he is, and then like the door just blasts off. And then we see like Kikaku and Yumachika just kind of like running out, and he's just kind of like, you've got to be kidding me. How the hell is the captain standing right in front of me? Well, right in front of us, and he just got healed. But the thing is, he now has both arms. And he lost one of those. Like, it isn't just like he got like cut off and like reattached it. No. That thing was turned into like just a pile of mush from the nerve ability, so Orihime is basically useless now since they can do this, unless Orihime can revive the dead. These pods can do her job without having to like worry about like Ryotsu holes probably. So we cut back to like the fight, and Gerald Valkyrie, I don't know why I have such a problem saying his name, is just like screaming as like blood just gushes out of his arm. It's kind of like, my right arm has grown even stronger. And so yeah, pretty much every time in like he gets his limbs, because this is like confirming like his power doesn't just work for like that one time to go like God mode or whatever. It's something that will continue to work. So he'll keep getting like hit, and it'll keep getting bigger. It'll just like Yami. It's just like him. Just keep hitting him. He just keeps getting bigger and stronger. And Tosho's just kind of like, I see. So then I'm guessing he was a lot smaller when this battle began. And he just kind of just like looked over at Byakuya and was just like, what? If you have something to say, what is it? Byakuya says, it's just your fixation on my face is disturbing. Kachi says just like, ain't that just a kick in the balls? That's how his ability works. But let's see what happens when I cut him up into tiny little pieces. Because, I mean, there's nothing I'd say that wouldn't work. I mean, unless he can completely regenerate his like entire body, that technically should work. But another thing that could technically work is just like two things. Like they could just kind of keep coming off like one of his arms until like, say like this is like how big Gerard is. Just keep cutting off this arm until like it's like this thick compared to the rest of him. So he's like, it's so big and heavy that not even he can lift it now. I mean, yeah, that arm keeps getting stronger, but like you just keep cutting off like from here down. The rest of the arm won't be able to pick it up. So, or you could just do like the whole like reversing him with Shin, like just like have someone just go and like kick Shinji to wake him up and just like have someone use their ability on him, and then just like have Tosho just like make a bunch of ice at his feet, like trip him and just like make him fall off the Soul Palace. Because Tosho here stops Kenpachi from like going at him, and Kenpachi would have killed him if he didn't like hold back his swing. But technically it should work, because unless like the 72 layers of friction are still broken, just knocking him off should still work. I mean, unless he like is now so just godly that he could survive it. But I mean, I guess if it isn't there, I mean, of someone of his size, falling from how high they are would be almost as bad as a meteorite hitting. So I mean, it hit and caused a huge explosion, but at the same time the Seirete is pretty destroyed already. So I mean, yeah, well, a couple of guys would get killed, but you'd also probably hit the Lily Barrow clones, which means that you'd also probably hit Aizen and Izuru, but Aizen would be fine, and Izuru's practically just a zombie, so could take out a couple of birds with one really big rock. So Gerard, instead of just like using his new huge hand to crush him, he just decides to step on him. But Kenpachi catches the foot and like just topples him instantly. And that's kind of like raises the question that I've been having into this: how strong is Kenpachi? Because I know like after he fought Unohana and died a ton, he got like way stronger, but this guy took out 7 captain-leveled Soul Reapers and several visors wearing their hollow masks with just one swing of the arm, and he took them all out. So if Kenpachi can topple him, could Kenpachi technically do that to all of them? Because if he could, well, then Kenpachi just go fight Yuha and that's it. I mean, he could probably take him if he could do that. Kenpachi probably couldn't handle Yuha. I mean, actually, he'd probably be more encouraged because one of the clone guy, like one of the Lloyd looked like Yuha when he beat him down, which still doesn't make sense because the one who was impersonating Yuha was just the one who took their appearance and not their powers. Unless I'm wrong on that, I don't think I am. But yeah, Kenpachi just kind of doesn't listen at all, and just kind of like jumps up and is just like, I didn't come here for a lecture. Size matters. Yeah, it does, and you just keep making him bigger, so if it matters, and why you keep making him stronger, that defeats the point of winning the battle. And he's just like, unless you're ready to go big, then go home. So he's like, goes like strike at his head, but Gerard just like lifts the shield, blocks it, and just kind of like bats it away. And like this sends him like several like kilometers away because he's just like crashing through buildings. And it turns out that Gerard has like one of those like shields that like the shield is the sheath, and I don't know if there's like a name for that or something. I'll look it up, and if there is, it'll be right here. Ah, that's a cool name. Unless there's a name, then it's not a name. And so yeah, he's just gonna like, someone who's managed to topple me, you've got to be pretty strong, and yeah, he has to be really strong to be able to lift him. And he just kind of said like, but since you're like one of those like who pleasure in sadistic acts of cruelty, for a powerful incarnation of darkness yourself, I'll have to use, I suppose it's fitting that I allow my hopping to rust just a bit. And basically, Hofeng means sort of hope. Because, you know, like, the Quincy's all think they're, like, good guys, so it makes sense for them to have this. Especially since he seems like one of the more guys who thinks he's more, like, heroic in beating down the villains. And he's just kind of, and Kenpachi's just like, man, that's a solid shield for a solid body. That just makes me want to cut it even more. Drink. No Zarashi. Oh, shit. This is getting, like, I kind of thought that after he was put into, like, that thing, like, the healing tube, I was just kind of like, oh, gosh, the healing tube, that's going to be, like, in Dragon Ball Z, and it's going to take, like, 50 chapters to get him out of there, so we're not seeing Kenpachi use no Zarashi again. Because, you know, Drink doesn't really sound like, does that have, like, some sort of, like, absorption ability? It could, but we wouldn't have been able to figure that out unless he uses it in this fight. And so Toshiro and Byakuya are kind of surprised by this. Like, Toshiro's just kind of like, is that his Shikai? When did he learn that? And Byakuya just kind of said, so then our assumption that his katana was constantly in its release form was erroneous, which I'll pull up the definition of that because I don't explain it. Rather, it means that the constantly released form, as we called it, never even began to even existed to begin with. Which goes like called like way long ago, like to like the Soul Society arc and everything. Because if everyone remembers what his normal sword looks like, it's not exactly like how all the other captains have. Because like, I know that you can like change how it looks. Like, Soifon has like the little like ninja sword, and Kisuke has like his cane. But that's because, like, Soifon's an assassin, so she'd use, like, a ninja sword, and Kisuke's a scientist, so he'd use that. But, Kenpachi's was just, like, always, like, really, really long, like, all jagged along the side, and in the Soul Society arc, everyone just kind of said that he's constantly in a Shikai, and, like, Ichigo kind of even made a point out of that, like, oh, so if you're already in your Shikai, then you won't be getting any stronger, so I should be able to beat you. Which, I mean, just because he beat Lieutenant using his Shikai doesn't mean he should be able to beat Kenpachi. I don't even know how he came to that conclusion. But then at the end of the fight, and like I kind of like instantly thought that, like, oh, so I guess they were all wrong. Instantly at the end of the fight, because after Ichigo and Kenpachi clash, Kenpachi falls over, Ichigo's taken away by Yoruichi, and he like holds his sword up and is just like talking to it, like, so, do you have a name or something? Do you want to, like, talk? And he doesn't get a response, so I was just kind of like, okay, so he's not in Shikai, because he'd have to know his sword's name for that. But at the same time, Byakuya goes even, like, a step further, like, saying, like, the thing of a constantly released Zanpakuto doesn't really exist. But then we have, like, Ichigo with his giant butcher knife thing, like, you know, like, that's kind of like what it reminds me of, like, his old Zanpakuto. But then we found out, like, those aren't like his full powers like released or anything. So then he has like the two new swords. So does that mean he's now constantly in his Shikai, or is that just like the sealed state? Because it could be like Uketake, where he's constantly has his swords, like dual wielding his swords, even though they're sealed, but those look like normal katanas. But then again, Ichigo's normal sword never really looked like a normal katana to begin with, so that could just be his normal sword, it could be a Shikai. We don't really know until he fights someone and has to use a different ability. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So Kenpachi and Gerard go at each other again, and they just like clash, and you know how Kenpachi's sword is just like humongous? Like way taller than he is? Yeah, well, Gerald's sword makes it look like a toothpick. And so they kind of like knock each other away, but like Gerald just kind of like staggers slightly. But again, with Kenpachi, he gets like sent through like multiple buildings. He gets like sent several meters away. But he just kind of like Gerard just kind of says like foolish oath. You've gone and whipped the blade of Hofung, and then I kind of, because like you see like a little chip in it, and it's then like Kenpachi's stomach just like gushes blood out of it. So that like some ability that like his sword has, like where Gerard gets hit, he like turns that damage into power, but if his like sword gets chipped, it just like reflects that damage on someone else, because that looks around like the midsection of the sword, and he gets like cut in like the stomach area, which is around the middle of the body. So that could be something. If that was true, these like Sterner guys are way too overpowered. Just saying. But yeah. Now, sadly, I know what's going to happen next chapter because it's impossible not to know at this point. But that's my own fault for being behind. So I'm not really going to make any predictions for next chapter, because I kind of already know what's going to happen. Well, with Kenpachi, but not with anyone else. But I think that's his power, and if so, then that's really kind of overpowered. It kind of felt like this was like just like a good, just like hack and slash chapter, because like this chapter was pretty much just them going at it, fighting the entire time, while the last chapter was nothing, but just talking the entire time and dying and stuff. So yeah, this is like, we need to get away from like that heavy stuff for a while, so yeah, just have this fight. And that's all. See you guys next time.